Right then, so today is an absolutely freezing cold morning. It's just gone 8 AM. It's about -4 out, but I've come out this early at this cold hour to try and catch some big perch out the canal on the lures. I know that perch in general, and more often than not big perch, tend to feed in early morning or very late evening. Now I know it's not the crack of dawn, but 8 AM is quite early, I guess you could say. So I'm gonna get myself down a few stretches of canal to the narrow bit. A lot of you will probably know where that is by now. And I'm just gonna lure fish there for a couple of hours this morning and try and catch the targeted fish, which in this case is the big perch. Any form of big perch will do. But yeah, you can see all the frost and all the mist, the cold mist coming off the top of the water. Let me get out of frame for a second so you can just see it. It's absolutely freezing. I don't know if you could tell on camera then. But without further ado, I'm gonna get a wriggle on, get moving so I can keep warm. So I'll see you when I'm down there. I'm going to pause my journey down to the narrow section because I've just seen an absolutely humongous fish come out the top there. It was either a massive perch or a pike, a small pike. I think it was a small pike. So I'm going to cast out here for a little moment. You may notice I've got my gloves on, so that is how you know it's freezing cold, if I've got my gloves on, because I literally never wear gloves. I've just stopped off up here on the way down to the narrow bit to get a little overhead look of the canal, and you can see it's super duper clear today. You can see right across there, right across here, and you can see to the bottom almost. At least you can from up here. You can kind of see the drop-off points where it gets deep, where that's where it's darker, and it's a super clear morning on the canal today. I find it funny how much the canal switches up though, because about 5 days ago when I came jigging worms down here, it was really dark water. That was because it was raining all day and all the mud off of the fields was getting washed into it and whatnot, but it was super muddy, and now it's really clear. I'm gonna stop and have a couple of casts underneath the bridge because I know some nice perch are under here now. In fact, I got snagged here the other day and I can now see where I got snagged on. It's a blooming wheelbarrow. That explains why my entire line just snapped. Oh dear. What's good right now is I can see my lure on the bottom, but I can't see any perch yet. Right, so I've reached the narrow section, or at least I'm right by it anyway. There's a few lads down here working, cutting the hedges down and all that, which is really good for me because I can get to the places I want to cast out again now. Whereas before I was blocked off by all the tall weeds and the snags and stuff, so it's good that it's getting mowed down. Only thing is it might be a little bit noisy for a while, but I can deal with that. Okay then, let's get at it with the first cast on the narrow bit. I'm in a bit that they've trimmed down, so I can reach this little bit of the stretch again, which is nice, because I haven't been able to properly fish this bit for a long time. I've just got to hope there's still perch here to bite. I'm more concerned about if the perch are actually out this time of morning, on such a cold morning, actually feeding. But I can imagine they are, because they're probably very used to the cold mornings at this point. Here's another bit that I couldn't fish for a while because all of this was just this tall and you couldn't get to it. But now it's all been chopped away, so I'm going to cast out here again. Obviously it'll all be trampled down for winter now, but then in the spring next year it'll just all bloom up again. And it'll be like that for half the year again, but so I'll have to make the most of this while I can. I feel like there's going to be a couple of perch over the direct other side of the canal where I'm fishing right now, so I'm getting a few casts out there, and all I'm doing is I'm just letting the lure sink right down to the bottom, sort of jerking the rod tip to give it a bit of motion in the water, and I'm just retrieving it quite slowly. That seems to be what gets the perch going down this bit of the canal. I think what I might do is go right down to the widened up bit down there and start fishing that, because that's where a lot of the perch seem to be this time of year for some reason, in that wider bit. And plus I'm in the way of the workers here, so I'll get out of their way. I've now arrived at the wider bit of the narrow stretch. I tend to catch at this quite a lot more often than I do at this other bit. So I'll stay at this bit for about 40 minutes or so maybe. I'm having a few problems with my rod because overnight it's been in the shed obviously, and it's so cold that the braid has kind of froze. And in the line, there's this tiny knot. I'm talking like a little tiny lump on the braid, and that gets stuck in the end eye of the rod, and then the braid just starts spinning around and it doesn't reel the actual line in because it's so cold. Kind of frictioned it together, I don't know, but that's happened twice to me now, so it's an easy fix, but it's a bit annoying. Here goes then, I've sort of fixed the braid now so I can cast properly again. This bit of canal's the same as all the way at the very beginning. It's so clear, I can see very clearly over the other side, and I can kind of see to the bottom. I don't see any fish at the moment, but they do just seem to appear randomly. I don't know where they hide, but they're sort of camouflage into the rocks. These perch do once in a while. These perch do somehow. I'm just going to give it a moment fishing on this little ledge here. If you remember a few months ago, this bit of the towpath was broken and it had just slid into the canal, but it's been fixed up now and it's kind of nice to fish off. And I've fished off it twice now and caught twice, so I'm going to push my luck and try and catch a third. How I done it last time, I kind of just went in the margin right beneath my left leg here, right beneath me here, and they just sort of shoot out of the margin, out of nowhere, like bullets. But there's quite a few of them there. I mean, so far they don't seem like they're feeding, these perch don't, because I've had about 100 casts out already on the way here and here. I've had loads of casts and not one single perch was bit, but that could all change in an instant. It usually does anyway. It seems I always catch at the end of my session when I'm debating going home because I've caught absolutely nothing. And then a bite just suddenly appears out of nowhere, but I'm hoping today I don't have to wait for the bite and it'll just come early. Another thing about this braid being kind of frozen, the drag isn't working very well. Look at this, if I pull on that, it's just pulling the line and no drag. You can't hear the clickety sound or whatever it is. But yeah, if I do hook into a perch, I've got to hope that he ain't fighting too hard, because otherwise I'll just pull the drag away. Because otherwise I'll just pull all my line out. It's 9:30 AM now and the temperature's starting to pick up a little bit. Don't get me wrong, it's still freezing cold, but I think it's just gone up to 0 degrees now and it's not in the negatives and it's not in the positives, so that's an improvement from -4. The sun's coming out now as well, which is obviously helping warm things up, so that's really nice. And hopefully now that it's warming up a little bit, the perch will start coming out of their little hidey holes and feeding. That would be ideal. Anyways, moving along from that widened up bit, and I'm going to go back onto the very narrow bit now because I'm starting to debate where the fish are. But I need to get out and explore the rest of the canal, so here goes. Usually when I have a bit of a bad session down there and I come up this way, I start getting bites left, right and centre. And then eventually at the very end of the narrow bit I'll end up catching. That seems to be the little prerogative going on here. So I do hope Mr. Monster Perch will appear out of nowhere right now on this very cast. Let's see. Yeah, I can sense he's nearby. He's got to be somewhere. Yeah, I imagine if he just comes out now, boom, smashes my lure, but no. Sadly not. There's still a load of mist and foggy stuff coming off the top of the water. You can see it all evaporating. In person anyway, I don't know about on camera, but... And this keeps happening as well. All these little droplets of water keep coming down and I get caught in it. I need to run away now. It's all the frost melting off the leaves in the trees above and all the water's just leaking. And it keeps going on my head and stuff. It's freezing cold. Comes a right shock when it hits on you. I'm going to start moving back up this way again now to the next bridge and I'll have a bit of a fish up there and then that's where I wrap the video up because somehow I've just spent half an hour on that. What is it now? No, I've spent an hour there. It's 26 minutes past 10. Oh my God, I didn't realise the time. I've just spent so long going from just there to there and I've caught nothing. The fish are not biting this morning. But that view there is absolutely stunning. You can see all the frost there, the golden brown trees and the blue water and the blue sky as well. That's a lovely picture. The scenery's lovely this morning, but it's just freezing. That's the only problem. But it's all right. The cold doesn't particularly bother me. I'm kind of used to it now. I'm going to give it a shot out here by these reeds over the other side of the canal. You can see there, because it's so clear, you can see the lily pads underneath the water. They've kind of died off, but there's still a few that are alive somehow. Obviously, they're going to just die off over the rest of the year though, and come back next spring. But it's quite pretty over that other side of the canal as well, especially with the field with crops growing in over there. It looks very nice. I mean, what better way to spend a morning? Not this part of it though, the getting tangles. I don't even know how I've done this. There we go, I'll fix that now. I get tangled way too often. It's very irritable. Here I am then, up the last little bit of the canal, right by this bit where there's the overhanging, whatever that's called, bridge mooring point thing. I haven't actually fished this for a good couple of months. Since summer I don't think I've fished this. So I'm going to have a couple of casts out here. I believe the last fish I ever caught at this bit was a roach. A roach or a rudd. I think it was a roach and he was about that big. But that was on a pole anyway. The last time I caught a perch from here was, my God, that was a good year ago now. I haven't caught a perch from here in a long time. Hopefully things will change right now. I've said to myself I'm going to stay till 11 o'clock, so got about 20 minutes left. So let's have a couple of casts out here, which is kind of hard because as you can see I'm just getting snagged in all this weed from the trimmings that have just gone in. Let's give it a shot, eh? I've just spent the last 25 minutes or so around about by that overhanging deck and this bridge. And seriously, I'm kind of surprised I've not caught a perch. I mean, early morning I thought they'd be all over the laws, smashing them and everything, but they had different plans today. But I'm gonna get myself home now and have a nice warm shower because I'm freezing cold. I mean, even though I didn't catch this morning, it was an enjoyable time, seeing all the scenery and everything this morning. It was a pretty morning on the canal, I guess you could say, and a very cold one too. But it was worth coming out. There was always a chance I could have caught, but today just wasn't the day apparently. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching the video. I'm sorry I blanked. I'm disappointed about it myself. It's always a hit or miss with the canal, and today it was a miss. Anyway, thank you very much for watching again. If you enjoyed, please leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel and turn on the post notifications so you don't miss another video in the future. Become a member of the channel, the link for that is in the description, you can read more about that down there. And follow my Instagram, wilf_fishing, I'll leave a link for it on screen here and a link in the description of the video too. You'll just get to see some behind the scenes stuff I guess on there. But as of now, there's not much more to say really, so I'm going to start walking home. Hope you all enjoyed the watch, but I'm off, so I'll see you all in the next video. Peace for now.